I would tell a newly elected sheriff that this is an invaluable tool. You cannot put a dollar on this. You would need to come if you are serious about being sheriff.
I was reluctant coming out of a general election. A week and a half later, I'm in Chapel Hill, away from doing interviews for my administration, all the way down to the clerical. But I can't stress again how vital those 5 days away, being with other newly elected sheriffs and learning what the office of sheriff is all about.
It's almost a necessity now with the way the world's changed, with the technology that's out there now, with the new laws. You need to be updated. You need to have all the assets that you can have, and this is a way of getting those assets.
Everything that came up those first 2 or 3 days, I began to wonder, did I have any idea what I'd gotten myself into? And thank God somebody was telling me, what was happening, so I would have some idea of what I needed to do to make sure I didn't get myself in trouble. So it's invaluable.
We had 2 sheriffs, one in each school, and I would pick out those 2 sheriffs and ask the new sheriffs to call them, because they didn't want to come, they didn't want to spend their time here at the school. They felt like, I'm newly elected, I got to get in my office. But once they were here, you couldn't push them away.
This can keep you out of trouble. It can make you a better sheriff. You can find out different things, how to be a leader.
I came into this with the aspects of feeling that I knew a lot more than what I did know.
You develop friendships and business relationships at this institute that help you develop and spend less time on issues that are pretty simple and someone else has already experienced, and that's invaluable in itself.
I've spent more hours and more actual class study time in this coursework than I did earning my master's degree. And I will say without hesitation, it's much more valuable for specifically doing the job that I'm doing now than anything else I've done.
The instructors have been fantastic. They've been not only very open to any types of questions, but also giving their personal contact information to us to allow us to contact them at a later date with any information or any questions that we may have.
Failure for us is not an option. Basically, the sheriff leadership has allowed us to come in to a process and learn what things we need to do as newly elected sheriffs to be able to put our agencies together.
It begins with the essentials that you have to survive the first month. Little things like organizational management and understanding budget processes.
We've learned anything from the sheriff being a constitutional office through the state constitution, all the way up to what type of personality traits that each individual sheriff currently has.
Being a sheriff for the past, going on my 12th year, it was a little different for me. The first couple weeks just kind of reiterated that I have been doing the right thing.
Class really was a strong class, a lot of material, but so far it has been really rewarding.
The fact of working with, in this particular class, 31 other sheriffs who had a lot of the same questions that I was asking myself prior to becoming sheriff of what do I need to do to get started.
I thought I was stepping into an office that I knew all about. I found out there was a lot to learn. There was a lot I didn't know.
I think the state constitution is clear on serving the civil papers and running the jail and running the courthouse, but it doesn't give you all those little things that the sheriff is responsible for that aren't in that constitution, and it kind of laid all those responsibilities out and helped us learn about those laws that affect what we're responsible for doing.
I thought I knew a whole lot about what I was doing, but when I made it to the other side of the table, on the administrative side, I found out there was a whole lot of things that I had no idea.
It enabled me to review some of the policies and procedures we had in place, some of the accounting procedures we had in place after the initial first 2 weeks of the program. And That resource alone was worth the time spent here because we were able to correct some issues that we had that we did not realize that we had.
We've learned about perceptions, dealing with stress, dealing with personnel.
Being second in command, you never really know what the lead man does until you step in his shoes. And stepping in those shoes, I found out were quite larger than what I thought they were.
The sheriff has the responsibility of hiring, firing, and executing his office, and that impacts a lot of people as far as the decisions that you make.
Now, I had some understanding of what was expected of a sheriff, but I had no understanding of how much it was going to change from being chief deputy sheriff to actually being the sheriff, the person behind the desk, the person making the final decision.
The policies and procedures that were discussed, certain topics that were covered in detail, enabled us to put things in place, allowing our office to be much more professional and operating efficiently.
It is a professional program that stresses professionalism within the North Carolina Sheriff's Association, and it makes each individual a more professional sheriff. That has a trickle-down effect in each office that we currently serve.
In speaking to the Governor's Crime Commission, I would say to you, thank you for the opportunity that you have provided for us to be a part of the second class of the Leadership Institute.
This is a class that the new sheriff need to take, and I can assure you, you will learn more things that you thought you knew that you actually didn't know.
I know we have several sheriffs that are in this class that have been sheriffs for 12 and 14 years, and they have come away with a lot of knowledge.
We're fortunate that the funding is available through the Governor's Crime Commission. I don't think any agency could afford this level of training and bringing the quality of speakers that we have. Growing up in the agencies, we can ask up the chain of command questions, but once we get to the level of sheriff, it's hard to ask other people within your agency, and we need that camaraderie and that leadership and education we receive outside the agency to help us to grow.
In closing, I would like to say when I came into the sheriff's leadership, I came in here as one sheriff. When I left out of here, I came out of here as one sheriff with 99 other sheriffs that has my back. And that feels good when you come from a small county with limited resources.
Every minute that we've spent in the Sheriff's Leadership School has had valuable information, and I have over 30 years in law enforcement. Almost every minute of the school, I've learned something that I considered a valuable nugget for what is going to make me a better sheriff in the future.
Failure for us is not an option. They are there to support us, to take care of us, and anything that we need through this association, they have provided for us, and I think that is a valuable tool.
Funding for this program is absolutely critical if they want to maintain the integrity of the Office of Sheriff in North Carolina.